All right, guys, as promised, man, we're going to talk about correction, rebuke, and then encouraging those that we do these things to. Oftentimes in life, we're afraid to rebuke or correct because we don't want people to think that we're being judgmental of them. But I'm going to tell you why it's important to do both. Hey, y'all stay tuned. It's the Red Tape Podcast. All right, guys, what's going on? Man, I know it's a good thing. It's a great thing when you have those certain people in your life who are pillars or stones, and maybe you don't have any of them, but I'm sure you do, but who are pillars in your life and do great things and tell you great things, and not just because you're great, but they tell you the things that you do wrong, and that's why you appreciate them. And it's not because they do great things a lot of times either, just because they honestly and brutally truthful with you, and they do it in a way that, well, when you tell the truth, it's gonna offend anybody, depending on how you say it. I mean, you can present it in a birthday cake. I mean, you can present it on the best day of the year, and truth will hurt, especially when you know you messed up. Truth just is that mirror that placed in front of it that reveals some ugly things about ourselves, and it's okay because the ugly things can become beautiful if we, get them out of our lives. So a lot of times in life, we looked at being correct or being rebuked in a bad way. And I think we think of it on a smaller scale and then don't look at it as the big picture. Being rebuked or being reproved, it's there to help you and guide you and teach you so you can learn not to make it's a harsh line to help you realize where you are in life. It tells you how far away you are from the standard. Judgment, on the other hand, or being judgmental of someone is criticizing them and then picturing them as that's just who they are. Being rebuked is meaning, for me, is showing that you are better than what they or what you may think of yourself. And that's why rebuking is good. That's why correction is great. And then when you're done with that, you always have to encourage them how to move forward. Now, I know I spoke of earlier on Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2 through 5, just speaking on the congregation, just thinking about what we can and what we can't do, congregation versus audience. But this one, I just want to dive a little deeper and just thinking about rebuke, thinking about judgment, correcting and encouraging those people that we decide to help by rebuking them. See, when we judge people, You judge people, you've made up your mind about that person, you formed an opinion, and you think your conclusion is that they're bad or whatever the case may be, or that they can't change, and they criticize. And you criticize them and you blame them, and that's not good. So that's why judging is always tough. It's always tough. So you have to understand how to rebuke without judging. You can't be judgmental of people because people have a right and ability to change, because that's what humanity can do. That's the beautiful part about free will and all those things. You can change. So a lot of times, if you don't give them that, if you put judgments on them in your mind, you don't think they could change, and then it just makes you look at them in a bad way. It's like you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, you can't look at the cover and not like it, but when you judge the book by its cover, that means that everything that's tied to them, just off of what you see, is bad. And you don't have that right. You do have a right to rebuke because it helps you figure out a way to look at a way to reproof or get them on the right track so they can be corrected. Because in rebuking, you give proper instructions with it. Rebuking comes with proper instruction, which helps correct the situation. And then in that, you can give them encouragement on how that's going to better form them to be better people. I know it seems like I'm stumbling a little bit, guys, but I'm trying to get to this point. It's important, whether they on track or they off track, whether they doing the right things or whether they stumbling to get there like I am through this podcast. You got to understand that rebuking is important. See, I think we get away from that because everybody thinks that everything you say to somebody because you disagree with the action or you disagree with that moment is a judgment. And it's not a judgment. We have to be careful. We have to be mindful of that we don't judge people, but we also have to be mindful that we do correct people, because we do need that. Everybody needs that. That's why I always and forever talk about the community. If I didn't have friends that rebuke me or corrected me when I am wrong, then they are doing a disservice to me. And then it's hurting me because I am doing something, because they're afraid that they might judge. I am doing something that's going to hurt me in the long run. Then you look back on your friendships and you get pissed off. You're like, man, what the heck is going on? They didn't even try to tell me. You just let me walk in there, didn't tell me that the bear was in the room. Well, we didn't want you just to, we didn't want you to think, we thought you were weak and you couldn't handle the bear. Well, I can't. The bear is a lot to deal with. Where's my gun? You know what I'm saying? So we needed to get to that point. We need to be able to have that help, and it's needed to rebuke and correct and then encourage each other. That's the same thing in the household with kids. You have to correct them, rebuke them. But in rebuking, you got to give them the instructions to get better. Instructions is the importance to keeping rebuke from being judgment. Because if you just rebuke someone without giving them the instructions to get better, then you are just judging them. But in rebuking someone, you're giving them instructions so they can correct the issue that they're dealing with so they can be better. And then you don't have to even tell them to be encouraged, because they will be encouraged by them and you, because you've inspired them to do or change course. When you inspire them to do different and change the course of action, it's automatically you are encouraged by what they do. Automatically. So when you're able to do this as leaders, as teachers, as preachers, as whatever you are in your community, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, you have to be able to help all those who want to help themselves. That's a great thing. But two, we have to be able to tell every single person about themselves. It's be ignorant. It'll be stupid for us to just let somebody live in a way that is not conducive to growth. It's not conducive to contributing to the community that we're trying to build. If we let somebody continue to go down the course of wrong, then we're no better than them. And it's actually suicide, because not everyone can see everything that they do. Now, some people can see and choose to do whatever it is that they want to do, but not everyone sees what they do. And I mean, the prime example of that is you get in a relationship with somebody and it's all good. It looks like you're all in love, but people on the outside are like, I don't want to get in your business. I don't want to say, I want you to be able to make the decision that you want to make, but I think you need to look and be careful about, that one, he or she, whoever it may be. Because I'm just watchful. Just be careful. Take your time. That's when you might be in a relationship that might be kind of rocky, when your family tell you, just take your time. Your mom or your granny or somebody, just take your time, okay? That's all I ask you. Take your time, watch, and remember, you can do a lot of dating out there. So they're not rebuking you, but they're just telling you to be watchful, and because, hey, anything can happen, right? So that's how I look at this in a way. It's just like that. It's just like that a lot of times. And you know that because after you correct and rebuke and encourage some people, there's going to be times of hardship, because now you can see the light. Because with that, you've become enlightened to the situation. You grow from that situation, and you want to change and do the right things, because that is what is important. And then with all those things and those people around you, they got to have patience with you. Because of the instructions that they give, they can't be hasty and can't make you think you're going to get it all right then and there. When you give instruction, you have to lay it out. It's just like putting a table together or putting a swing or something together. There are steps, and sometimes it takes days, years, sometimes centuries. When you think about the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., that's the highest point in D.C., it took a long time. I know it took over 100 years to build that thing, but now it stands up and it's strong. So that's what we have to make sure we don't do. When we helping, when we correct, we rebuke, and then we encourage them, that we don't condemn them because it doesn't go the way you think it should go. You gave them an instruction, and let Christ do the rest. And let them do what they need to do. Because a lot of times you get blessed because you do the work. When you do the work, you get blessed, right? You have to do the work. I don't want to just sit there and something just fall in their lap. I haven't met one person like that. Everybody has to work for something. Nobody escapes this life not working. And if you do, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. You just lucked up, but I'm sure life isn't that great for you. So that's all I want to talk about really quick, man, because I know I said I would come back on here and just talk about rebuking. I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't confuse you. And if I did, you can email me at 41media@gmail.com. You can DM me at demerious.nelson on IG. You can hit us up at 41media, at 41media. I mean, you know, so many ways to communicate. YouTube's up. You can put your messages there. We got tons of video going to be uploaded soon. We just taking time because we got to make sure it's right, man. We don't want to give y'all anything terrible. We want everything to be done in excellence because that's what we do. Hey, y'all just stay tuned, guys, to the coming up shows. We're going to have more shows coming up, man. Y'all just stay tuned, stay locked in. Hopefully we learn something. We learn something together. You learn something on your own, and then y'all can teach me because I need to learn a lot, man. I do a lot of reading, but I feel like I don't know enough. So y'all just keep helping me out. I'm going to help y'all out as well. I got some great recommendations coming up. A book for y'all that want to invest that I think is an excellent book. It's called The Intelligent Investor. Check that book out, man. Intelligent Investor. I think it's by Benjamin Graham. I just got to look that up again. Intelligent Investor. Why y'all waiting? Intelligent. First of all, you got to spell intelligent right. And then you'll be able to. Yep, Benjamin Graham. Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I've read the book before. It's great. If you're looking to invest, to do something great in your life, I try to give you everything I got because I want y'all to be able to invest in yourselves, invest in your lives, invest in your finances, invest in your health. And that's what we're about, changing mindsets. But you can't do any of those other things, those external things, until you can first internally put yourself in the right place. And that's getting your mindset right. Get your mind right. All right, hey, this is Demerious Nelson. This is the Red Tape Podcast. Y'all have a good one.